Hello and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope you saw and enjoyed my video with Hunter Original expert Brian Hicks. Wasn't that informative and a great time? So what I want to do now, while I still have this Hunter Original box on the bench, I want to go over all the notes that I took from that video. Both the notes that I came in with, stuff I learned in the video, and then some stuff that I looked up because I hadn't thought to research it before the video, and then Hicks said something and I'm like, okay, I should go look that up, and got even more information. So that's what we're going to do. This is basically going to be a recap of the Hicks video on Hunter Originals with some new information. So, our story begins in 1886. The Hunter Fan Company was founded in Syracuse, New York by James Hunter and his father, John Hunter, who were immigrants from Ireland. It was originally known as the Hunter Fan and Ventilating Company. They first engaged in the manufacture of water motors and meters. They expanded their operations to include belt-driven fans, which were powered by the water motors, and then later they developed the turret electric motor, and that later powered the fans. In 1989, they moved outtake already. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope that you enjoyed my video with Hunter Original expert Brian Hicks. What I want to do in this video, while I still have a Hunter on the bench, is recap everything we learned in that video and add some new information. So let's go. Our story begins in 1886 in Syracuse, New York. The Hunter Fan Company was founded by James Hunter and John Hunter, who were a father and son. They were immigrants from Ireland. It was originally known as the Hunter Fan and Ventilating Company. They first made water motors, and then they expanded into belt-driven fans, which were powered by the water motors, and then they expanded into electric motors, called the turret electric motor, which was something they developed. In 1889, they moved operations to Fulton, New York. In 1896, they developed their first electric fan, the Turek Type A, which is what we think of as the original 1886 fan. It's got the kind of beehive-shaped motor with scroll work, and it's actually a friction drive. Have you ever seen the original version? So that was 1896. In 1901, they officially incorporated the company as the Hunter Fan and Ventilating Company. John Hunter, the father, passes away. In 1906, they developed the Turek Type C, which is more the pancake shape that we associate with the Hunter original motor, but it has the swirly Turek vents that were later copied by Old Jacksonville and St. Louis and Homestead with the Whisper Fan to the S vents. That was actually their first original style fan. That was the Turek Type C. In 1908, they patented the original friction drive fan that they'd been making for some time and was already kind of, in decline, but they filed the patent in 1908. In 1915, they filed a patent for the adjustable. If you don't know what the adjustable is, it's for the predecessor to Adaptair, where each blade arm was individually adjustable, and then there was a mechanism and a lever at the bottom of the switch housing, so you could adjust all of them together with this one lever. You could do forward, reverse, and you could do different blade pitches. And that was available for the Turek style, and that was available for the what they call the radial style, which is this bottom plate, which was introduced somewhere around the same time as the adjustable, so somewhere around 1913, 1915. In 1916, the C18 was introduced, which is the same, motor style with the radial plate. I don't know the difference between the C18 and whatever they had made before. In 1925, actually, I'm going to start this over because I think I just had a revelation. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Workbench. Perhaps you saw, I don't know what I'm doing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope you enjoyed the history of Hunter original discussion with expert Brian Hicks. I sure did. What we're going to do in this video, while I still have a Hunter original on the Workbench, is we're going to compile everything that we learned in that discussion. We're going to add a few new things that I've researched because of that discussion, and this will essentially be the cliff notes from that, plus a little extra. So let's get started. Our story begins in 1886. The Hunter Fan Company was founded in Syracuse, New York by James C. Hunter and John Hunter, which were a father and son. They were immigrants from Ireland. It was originally known as the Hunter Fan and Ventilating Company. First, they... Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope that you saw and enjoyed my video with Hunter original expert Brian Hicks. I sure did. What we're going to do now, while we have a Hunter original still on the Workbench, is we're going to compile all the notes from that video with some additional stuff that I researched because of things that I learned in that video, thanks to Brian and everybody else that contributed, and we're going to give the cliff notes here, basically. So, I don't like that. Hello, and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope you saw and enjoyed my video with Hunter original expert Brian Hicks. What we're going to do in this video, while we still have an original on the Workbench, we are going to compile all the notes and things that I learned from that video with some stuff that I researched because of things that I learned in that video, and we're going to do a new set of notes. So let's get started. Our story begins in 1886. The Hunter Fan Company was founded in Syracuse, New York by John and James Hunter, a father and son immigrants from Ireland. They made water motors, and then belt-driven fans powered by water motors. And then later they invented something they called the turret electric motor. Did they actually invent that? I should look that up, because that's what the notes say, but I should make sure. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Workbench. I hope you saw and enjoyed my video with Hunter original expert Brian Hicks. What we're going to do while we still have a Hunter original on the Workbench here, we're going to talk about everything we learned in that video and some stuff that I've researched as a result of things that I learned in that video. And we're going to have a whole new discussion and set of notes. So let's get to it. In 1886, the Hunter Fan Company was founded in Syracuse, New York by James and John Hunter, father and son immigrants from Ireland. They first made water motors and belt-driven fans that were powered by water motors. And in 1887, they developed the turret electric motor, which then they were able to make electric fans. In 1889, they moved operations to Fulton, New York. In 1896, they developed the turret... Well, we know that was 87. So I should really fix these notes.